So you've probably seen the headlines about MicroStrategy's stock. It's been on a pretty crazy ride lately, and if you're an investor, you're probably asking, what is going on? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut through the noise and break down the real story behind that recent plunge. We'll look at the market forces, the company's pretty unique strategy, and what it all means.
And it all kicked off with this number, a 10% drop in a single day. Ouch. For a company like MicroStrategy, that's not just a bad day at the office. That's a huge move that gets everyone talking. So, what really caused this sudden drop, and is it a sign of more trouble ahead? Let's figure it out.
Yeah, this quote pretty much sums up how a lot of investors are feeling, right? Here we go again. You can almost hear the sigh. It's that feeling you get from a stock that has a history of these wild swings. But is this just another dip on the roller coaster, or is there something deeper happening? Let's dig in. Okay, so to really get what's happening with MicroStrategy, we've got to zoom out a bit, because this isn't just an MSTR story. It's about a bigger shift happening across the entire market. We're in what's called a risk-off environment, and that just means investors are getting nervous and backing away from their riskier plays. And this slide really paints the picture, doesn't it? It's like a tale of two markets happening at the same time. On one side, you've got the high-growth, future-focused tech companies like Tesla and Microsoft taking a hit. And on the other side, you've got the old-world companies. The stable, maybe even boring ones like JPMorgan and AT&T. And they're actually up. This is a classic flight to safety, and it's a huge piece of the puzzle. So what's spooking everybody? Well, it's pretty much all the stuff you're seeing in the news every day. The threat of a government shutdown, worries about the economy, low consumer confidence, all of it. When people are feeling uncertain about the big picture, they're not really looking to take big chances in the market. They want safety, and that means selling off assets they see as volatile, assets like MSTR. But the shaky market is really only half the story. To understand why MicroStrategy in particular got hit so hard, we have to talk about the elephant in the room: Bitcoin. The company's strategy is so deeply tied to cryptocurrency, and that decision has huge consequences for its stock price. And this is where it gets super interesting. I mean, Bitcoin was down, sure, but only about 5.5% on that same day. So why did MicroStrategy's stock fall by almost double that amount? That question right there gets to the very heart of the company's whole strategy. This chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. MicroStrategy's stock basically acts like Bitcoin, but on steroids. When Bitcoin goes up, MSTR tends to go up even more. But when Bitcoin goes down, MSTR gets hit much, much harder. It's a high-risk, high-reward play. And on this day, you can see which side of that coin landed face up. And this is the absolute key to understanding MicroStrategy. They're not just a software company that happens to own some Bitcoin. They've really transformed themselves into a vehicle for Bitcoin exposure. Their core belief is that traditional currencies, like the US dollar, will lose their value over time, debasement. They see Bitcoin as the ultimate protection against that. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote makes it crystal clear. If Bitcoin doesn't do well, MSTR can't do well either. That was always the deal. There's no ambiguity there. The company has literally tied its fate to Bitcoin's. It's an all-in bet, and it is definitely not for the faint of heart. So, if you're even thinking about getting into MicroStrategy, you gotta throw out your typical stock market playbook. This is not a stock you trade based on what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. This is a long-term game, measured in years, maybe even decades. You have to be prepared to hold on, no matter how bumpy the ride gets. Think about it like this. They're planting an oak tree, not a bunch of flowers that pop up in a season. They're not interested in a quick win. They're building something for the long haul. So if you're looking for a get-rich-quick stock, this probably isn't it. But for those who are patient and can handle the storms, the company believes the payoff could be massive. So this really brings up a question, right? Which camp are you in? Are you the trader, watching every tick of the price and panicking at the first sign of trouble? Or are you the holder, someone who expects the volatility and is focused on a vision for 2030 and beyond? One is driven by sentiment, the other by conviction. And in the world of MSTR, only one of those mindsets aligns with the strategy. Okay, so let's say you're in it for the long haul. What are you supposed to do when the market's in a free fall like this? Do you just sit there and hope for the best? Well, not exactly. According to the Bitcoin faithful, there's a very different approach, and it might actually surprise you. Here it is. This is the secret that the old school Bitcoiners will share with you. The bear is for studying.
It completely reframes the situation. A down market isn't a disaster, it's a gift. It's a chance to tune out the noise, to actually learn about what you've invested in, and to build up that real conviction so the next storm doesn't shake you. So, what does that actually look like? Well, it means instead of obsessively checking the price, you actually dig into the fundamentals. You start learning about what proof of work really is, the incredible amount of energy that secures the network. You dig into why a 51% attack is so difficult, it's considered nearly impossible. It's about becoming an expert, not just a spectator.
And it all leads to this core belief, this almost philosophical stance. The idea that your wealth shouldn't just be at the mercy of policies and politicians. It should be projected by something more fundamental, like mathematics and the laws of physics. This is the big idea behind MicroStrategy's entire strategy, and it's what gives them the conviction to hold on no matter what. So what's the big takeaway here? MicroStrategy's crazy ride is more than just a stock story. It's a real-life lesson in risk, in conviction, and in the psychology of investing. And it forces all of us to ask a really tough question. In a world this volatile, is having a truly long-term mindset the most powerful strategy of all? Something to think about.